Welcome back. It's 8:37. You know, we recently learned Donald Trump took advantage of a tax loophole to avoid paying federal income taxes for many years. So what do some of the rules Trump benefits from say? And can you and I use them too? That's the big question. Here with what you need to know today is Shari O. Hi, Shari.
Hey,
good to see you.
Good to see you too,
All right,
John.
so tell us about this loophole that he uses.
Sure. Well, in the real world, we know that you can't possibly lose more money than you make on an investment, but it appears that a loophole that was accidentally created in the 80s is the way Donald Trump was able to sort of cherry pick losses from some of his corporate investments, but not having to recognize certain gains, so he ignored those. And that's how he racked up hundreds of millions of dollars in losses. This loophole was actually the subject of a Supreme Court lawsuit in 2001, and Congress actually went out of their way to vote to close it in 2002. Ironically, Clinton was one of the senators who actually voted to close that. And so even if you had as much money as Trump, you wouldn't be able to take advantage of these particular losses today. But the reason that he's been able to continue using these losses for over a decade has to do with the carryover rules that are in the IRS code, and we can take advantage of those.
And if you have a good accountant, yeah, you know, you even
and enough
better.
Money, yeah.
But, you know, what's the purpose of carrying over? How does it help the little guy?
Sure. Well, those rules were created over 100 years ago, and basically what they say is if a business takes a big loss, they can use that to offset gain in a year. If there's still more loss left over, they can carry that over for years to come. Theoretically, the reason is that it allows businesses to withstand up and down cycles, which keeps us all employed and the economy stable and things like that. It's been debated in Washington several times, but there's never been any real interest in changing it. Right now, the rules say that you can carry losses forward for up to 20 years and back for 2 years, which is one of the reasons that we think that Trump may be looking for other ways to reduce his taxes and try to avoid paying federal taxes, because his time is up for those losses.
Right. Well, I mean, those rules have been in place now 98 years and counting. So,
yeah, and they seem to work.
Yeah. So how could Trump cut his tax bill, and better yet, how can we do the same thing and benefit from it?
Right. Well, the main strategy it seems that he's been using, and again, he hasn't released his tax return, so this is just from anecdotal observation, but the strategy he seems to be using has been to be donating these very expensive conservation easements on his properties in California and New York and even here in Florida. And that's something that folks who happen to have enough land and conservation land on their land can also do, but even average people like us can make charitable contributions, and we can deduct those to reduce our tax burdens too.
That's right. Every little bit helps.
Tax code applies to all of us. It's just a matter of who has the money to use it.
Well said. All right, Shari, thank you again for being with us today.
Sure.
All right, let's check the forecast now with Felicia.